let's talk about ammo shortage and ammo prices. Obviously, we've been kind of suffering through or fighting through all of this ammunition garbage since roughly early 2020. I say March-ish is whenever all the coronavirus stuff kind of happened. Before that, there wasn't an ammo issue. Manufacturers will tell you that, consumers will tell you that. But it wasn't until people started hoarding toilet paper, hand sanitizer, and ammunition that we really started seeing the issues around that March timeframe, and it just got worse. People, I think, felt like there were things that they didn't want to get to a point where they could not get because manufacturing was slowed down. That did apply. I mean, the fear was real. The fear was legitimate because it certainly slowed things down in terms of the ammunition market. The supply chain was certainly disrupted. There's no doubt about it because you had states that were mandating lockdowns, stay-home orders, several things that applied directly to raw materials getting where they needed to get, and manufacturing employees even being able to go to those facilities because either the facilities were closed down or there were percentages of the personnel that were instructed to stay home. The workforce was much smaller. There's an older interview with one of the Hornady guys where he actually states that in March they had a warehouse full of ammunition. And in March they had an 85% increase on buys. 85% increase. Think of this. You're operating at full maximum capacity. You're spitting out ammunition at a normal, regular pace, probably a kind of a fast pace, because you are trying to keep up with the demand out there, and there's always a demand for ammunition, some kind of a demand for ammunition. So they're maintaining, staying there, keeping their head above water. They've got inventory in their warehouses. When you go from that to almost doubling what your output needs to be, it's not just a matter of flipping a button. You've got manpower, you've got machinery, you've got raw materials, you've got all these things that you have just what you need. You don't order from week to week. You might order from year to year as far as what your consumables are to build this ammunition. Let's not forget also that some of these anti-gun states out there did not deem these manufacturing facilities as essential employees. In a lot of cases, they were deemed non-essential. I know some states, I live in the state of Louisiana, they actually deem gun stores as essential places of employment where people could still open up and run at full capacity, or I probably limited showroom capacity, but still they could run at capacity. Importing almost came to a screeching halt during all of the coronavirus stuff. Again, we closed a lot of the shipping lanes and a lot of the things we just simply were not willing to allow to come back in the United States. Primers is kind of a big thing there. A lot of primers are made overseas. So when you stop that importation of these products, whether it be the items that we're going to use to make the primers, or the primers themselves if they were made overseas, that's a pretty big bottleneck. And primers are one of the biggest things to slow down ammunition production in most cases. And almost every time there's been some kind of an ammo drought, primers are most likely and usually at the center of that. So we're trudging right along with the coronavirus thing where everybody's freaking out, everybody's kind of stockpiling a little bit on their ammunition, getting what they need, what they don't need, kind of hoarding a little bit because this is our first pandemic. First time I've ever done one of these before, so I'm not really sure what to expect. So people were just continuously buying and continuously stockpiling. But then came the George Floyd thing. Then the riots started. Then all of the burning places down. People creeping into neighborhoods and harassing the people who lived in those neighborhoods. All that does is accelerate the purchase of ammunition and guns at that point. You know, before coronavirus, or when coronavirus was taking place, that first jump at the rush, gun purchases went up a little bit. They were noticeably higher. Ammo purchases went crazy. But whenever the rioting started, both of them went crazy. You had people purchasing ammunition and firearms at rapid paces, just getting ready. Again, my first riot, not sure when you're going to be in my neighborhood. And if you'll remember, a lot of these rioters and a lot of these terrorist groups that were rioting out there were the ones saying, we're coming to your neighborhood next. How am I supposed to know you're not really coming to my neighborhood? I'm supposed to take you at your word, right? So people were preparing for that entry into our neighborhoods, our completely peaceful neighborhoods. But just because somebody wanted to riot and burn and steal, now it was going to be acceptable. We were going to make sure we were prepared for that. And we were. Next up came the Biden win. The Biden win wasn't seen as a personal threat. The coronavirus was one of those things of uncertainty. Let's buy because we're not sure. The rioting was a matter of we're going to protect ourselves, so we're going out and buying this. The Biden stuff was neither one of those. The Biden stuff was like, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get this stuff again because this wacko, crazy Biden-Harris administration is going to try to upend the whole gun market, make people legally responsible for things they should not be, and simply limit things or ban things. And that is a big scare. Obviously, every time we deal with something like that, there's a huge spike in gun sales and ammunition sales, obviously. Let's talk about 2020. 2020 had roughly 20 million new guns that were sold. Roughly 8 million new gun owners were part of that. All three of these things we just talked about, coronavirus, the rioting, and Biden winning, are all big players in that whole crazy spike in that. Now think about this. Let's say we have 8 million brand new gun owners. Do you think a person who's buying their gun for the first time is leaving that gun store with no ammunition? They don't have any ammunition because they've never had a gun before. So now they need ammunition. So they're purchasing ammunition. Let's say they get one, probably 2 boxes of ammo. In most cases, I think it's fair to say that they're walking out of a store with 2 boxes of ammunition. If you got 2 boxes of ammunition, you're looking at about 100 rounds. That's 800 million rounds of ammunition that just went to first-time gun buyers getting only 2 boxes of ammunition. Now, I know that 2 boxes is not exact. Some may have gotten 1. Probably most got more than 2. So let's say that's a very conservative number, that we had 800 million brand new rounds going to brand new gun owners last year. It's probably more in the realm of billions of rounds, to be totally truthful with you.